The Greaseman, surprised that I'm even here. With the kind of past I've led, sometimes I get reflective as the weather turns cooler and I stare at the commuters hustling and bustling their way to their piddling little jobs. In their three-piece suits, their badges of bondage. As I sit here slobbering in front of the Sennheiser, it's a wonder I'm not in jail someplace. It's a wonder I ain't in line in some ditch. Yeah, I don't know how I survived those years, those long, dangerous years as a biker. Yeah! I was on my hog. Just me and my buddies screaming FTW. Riding wild, riding free. Looking for a bend and looking more to run. Head out on the highway. Whatever comes out. Yeah, it was brutal. We live tall, we live proud, we live bold, we live manly. Who didn't care? Just give me a tank of gas. My mama hanging on to me. Couple of Twinkies. That's all it took. We cruised Baja. We slept in the sun. We lived a normal life. Our stained jeans stuck to our tocasays. Long beards. They called me the Dagger. Because I was lean. And my eyes were always pinpoints. We drank enough alcohol to rub down the Green Bay Packers. Some of the guys were burned out on PCP. Still others were speed freaks. But we didn't mean nothing. We just wanted to ride free. Until one day, we're coming down Baja Point, doing the speed limit, just enjoying the bikes. But suddenly this clam got a big Winnebago with Jersey tags on it, comes rolling down, taking up the whole road. I said, Thumper, watch it, Thumper! My God! The guardrail! Thumper bought the farm that day. Thanks to that maggot tourist in his Winnebago. I said, come on, boys! Revenge! And so we gunned those bikes. I could see the man's terror-stricken face as he looked out the side view mirror as we came up. He started swerving from side to side. Finally, I got my bike right up the back of that Winnebago. I grabbed onto the spare tire and I hauled myself up on the roof. Then I pulled in my jean jacket and I grabbed my Magnum and I fired one right through the roof. Pull over, I screamed, you maggot, pull over! He continued to drive on. Finally, I broke in the driver's window. I said, pull over, you maggot! I grabbed the back of his hair. Sure enough, he pulled over. He pulled over and the boys were waiting. We grabbed him and we threw him in the dirt. And we escorted out his wife and his young daughters. Crazy Louie was getting turned on just at the thought of it.
Habadoo gaga, habadoo gaga, habadoo gaga, habadoo gaga.
I said, easy, Louie, easy, easy, easy. Sure enough, the guy stood up. He said, I can give you money, I can give you money. And he handed his wallet in my face. I slapped it out of his hand. I said, I don't want your money. Pop! Get it out of my face! Get it out of my face now! I think I might want something else. And I looked toward his wife. And I brushed her hair away from her face. She said, oh, get away from me, you pig! I said, I'll tell you who's a pig! And as we stood on that roadside cracking our knuckles, we were ready for action until the door of the Winnebago flew open again, and there was Grandma. She said, you ruffians, there's not a man among you! A man! There's not a man among you! I said, oh, yeah, old lady. She said, yeah, if you're a man, come up here and prove it. I'll take you all on. So sure enough, as she stood in the doorway, said, hey, we're going to let her issue a challenge like that. Come on, boys. And we all piled on. on board that thing. She said, come on, I'll take you. I said, all right, I'm the leader of this group. I got first dibs. Let's go. So sure enough, she took me in a way I'd never been taken before. My God, it was awesome. She said, oh, is that all you can do? All right, next. Finally, Crazy Louis stepped up in the on-deck. Go to town, buddy, go to town. And finally, Louis, I said, hey, put a cassette in the machine here up in the dashboard. I can't stand the sound of all these guys. Put anything in there. And so, in the aftermath, 45 minutes later, we staggered off that Winnebago. I mean, we staggered off and we collapsed down on the ground next to it. Sure enough, that fat maggot picked up all his credit cards off the ground and he put his family back in the Winnebago. And Grandma was standing there in the doorway with her hands on her hips saying, just like I thought, not a man amongst you here. Here I am still sitting on going, look at you, look at you. And there we were, all draped all over the landscape, soaked in sweat, completely exhausted, hands trembling, barely able to light a camel. She said, well, you all make me sick. You're nothing. You hear me? You're nothing. And the door of the Winnebago slammed, and they were on their way. My God, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it there. Yeah. Well, one of the guys had a beer, and he opened it. And he took a long draft. I said, hey, give me a sip of that. Give me a sip of that. And he handed the beer over to me, and I reached into my pocket, and I took out my can opener, and I made another hole in that can. And I took a pull. He said, hey, what'd you do that for? I said, well, you don't expect me to put my mouth where you just slobbered, do you?
Hey, if he's nuts, then what's that make you for listening to him?
Dignity.
Greaseman.